Welcome back to Thornhill Talk Sports. You can't keep a secret too long in Barbados, can you? And this is one that's going to come right out into the open now. We have first up the sports personality of the year, Kieran Meakins of squash fame. We know what a tremendous year she had in 2010. She's going to talk us through that, of course, her aspirations for 2011, etc., etc. Why am I talking when I have the sports personality of the year? First of all, congratulations to you, Kieran, on your accolade.
Thank you very much, Andy. Thanks. It was quite a year for me.
Were you surprised that when I guess someone rang you and told you, Kieran, we just got the news, you are the sports personality of the year. What was your first instinct?
I was just totally surprised. I was actually on holiday in England with my family for Christmas, and Craig Archer, the president of the Squash Association, sent me a text basically saying, congratulations, you've just been named Sports Personality of the Year. So I was totally surprised. I didn't have a clue. I didn't even know I was in the running for it. So, yeah, an amazing surprise.
But given the fact that you were so consistent throughout the year, was it really that big a surprise that at least if you didn't win, that your name wasn't in the hat?
Well,
honestly now, or this is you're just trying to be modest?
No, I'm not. Honestly, I really did. I just didn't even think about it. It was just nothing that ever crossed my mind. Like the Olympic Association named me Female Athlete of the Year a couple of weeks before, which was also a surprise. So it's just awards aren't really anything that I think about. I just think about going on the court and playing and performing to my best off the court. Awards like that, it was just an amazing surprise for me.
How in fact did you? Before we get into the nitty gritty of what you did this year, etc., how did you get involved in squash in the first place?
Well, when I was a kid, I used to I tried lots of different things and never really stuck with anything. And then when I was 10, I started playing squash. I went for some squash lessons and I just absolutely loved it from then. So it was just really going to the local leisure centre in England and taking a few lessons, and I just got the bug and just loved it.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been in Barbados then?
I've been living here for 10 years now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I actually first came here when I was 13 years old, and my very best friend is a Barbadian who was living in England. That's how I came to Barbados first time. So I first came at 13 on a holiday and absolutely fell in love with the island then, and came back like many times throughout the years. And then about 10 years ago, an opportunity came up for me to come here and coach squash. So there's no turning that one down, definitely not.
It was love at first sight with beautiful Barbados, as we would say here.
Yeah, absolutely. There was just something about this place that it just felt at home to me, even at 13 years old. Yeah.
What did you find, or what have you found special about it? We call it the rock, little dot on the map. What's so special about it from your viewpoint?
Well, obviously it's a beautiful island, but I think the main thing for me is the people. How lovely the people are here. How friendly. That was probably what struck me when I first came here. How nice everybody was to me. How it was great for all the sports. I was out doing all different things: water skiing, windsurfing, playing squash, and it's just sport-wise, it's a great island, and obviously the climate is fantastic. I love the warm weather. I hate the cold. So, but I find the people are just great here.
Tell us about the coaching part, because I guess a lot of us never tied you in with coaching squash. Obviously, those within your circle would know that.
Right. Yeah, I've actually coached squash since I was about 16 years old. That's like when you can take your first exam. So I've always done it like part time, and then like subsidised like other jobs and things. But then when an opportunity came for me to do it full time, I jumped at the chance, because it's just a good way to develop the sport. It's a good way to get youngsters into it. You see a lot. It's nice to see everybody improving. It's a very very rewarding job.
What motivated you though the most? You won 10 straight national titles.
Right.
Before you, there would have been Natalie Weber, Sonia Perkins, some extent Andrea Goodrich.
Right.
People of that ilk.
Uh-huh.
Knowing their history, did that motivate you to become the squash player you now are, Queen of the Caribbean?
I think so. My goal always, when I moved to Barbados and played my first nationals, my goal was always to try and win 10 straight nationals, which I achieved last year. So that was kind of my first big milestone for me for last year. So yeah, I just really wanted to do that. That was my goal, to win 10 straight.
The fact that you won 10 straight mean that you are that good, or the opposition is not up to your standard? What is it?
Well, I'm fairly good, I guess, but Wow, that's a tough question. I guess they're not up to my standard yet, but there is certainly some potential. You know, we have like our number 2 player, Sherry Ann Paris. She's away studying in America now, so she's improving, and obviously she's a lot younger than I am. So, and there's a few young players coming through. So hopefully, you know, they'll get there soon enough.
I remember last year at some point there was a Masters tournament, and you played in both the ladies as well as the men's section. Right. Is that a way of motivating yourself and getting up to that higher level?
Yeah, well, what happens is because I'm so much stronger than, especially in the Masters now, because I'm over 35, I'm quite a fair bit stronger than most of the women. So certainly when it's just a fun tournament, they let me play with the guys, which is, yeah, it's good fun because obviously the level is a lot higher in men's squash than women's squash. So it's just a way for me to push myself, yeah.
And of course, you're being modest again because you do beat the men.
Yeah, I do beat a few of them, yeah. I do try my best, yeah. I can hold my own with most of them on a good day, yeah. Yeah.
What was the moment for you, 2010? I tend to think maybe Germany, finishing second in the World Masters. Can you talk us through your year?
Yeah, well,
the high points. I mean, they don't seem to be any low points in 2010 for you. No, talk us through something.
Right. Well, it started in the Trinidad Open. I think that was in May. The Trinidad Open, which I won for the 4th consecutive year, and then I went on to Nationals, which was my big focus. I think early on in the year was to get that 10th Nationals. So that was fantastic to win that, and then I won my 11th Barbados Open, and then it really got tough because it was off the CAC Games, which I was very fortunate. I actually got a nice draw. I'm generally not lucky in draws, but even though I was seeded to get to the quarterfinals, but I managed to beat the number 4 and the number 2 seed and get all the way to the final. So that was a massive achievement for me. That was, I was really, really amazed, proud, everything to get there, And then the women's team, we won bronze, so that was also a nice way to finish that tournament. Then it was on to Caribbean Championships in August, which has been one that I've honestly thought I might never win, So I've been in the last 4 finals, so it was brilliant to actually win that one at last. And then, obviously, off to Germany. I literally went straight from St. Vincent to Germany. Got into Germany on the Monday morning. I had to play the Monday evening. And again, I was seeded to get to the quarterfinals. The number 1 seed was very strong, but I was lucky to draw the opposite half of the draw to her. So I managed to get all the way through to the final. And I lost in the final. I mean, she was a great player. She used to be world number 6 a few years back, so a very, very strong player. But just to get to the final on world level, it was amazing. It was really, it was just crazy, really, yeah.
And of course, the difference I suspect between Germany and the other tournaments is that you would have had support. A lot of people around that etc. Germany would have been opposite to that. Yeah. How did you handle that initially? Obviously, you had to become used to it, but how did you handle it initially?
It was a learning experience, I would say. The thing is, in the Caribbean, even if you travel to tournaments by yourself, there are always people that will support you because that's how the Caribbean is. It's a very warm and friendly place. So suddenly to be, 4,000 miles away all by myself, it was tough at times, definitely. Especially like in between games, you get like 90 seconds, and generally that's when your coach or somebody will come and have a talk with you, tell you what you're doing well, what you're not doing so good, and just not having that, I think I really, really missed that. But it was a good learning experience, and it made me realise that I can do it by myself if I have to. So that was a good thing.
Was there any form of intimidation there?
I don't think so. Obviously, the number 1 player was a German girl, so she got a lot of she had a lot of home support. But I did get in the end of it, I did get some support, from other players, which was kind of nice. I think people respected how I was playing squash, and I did get a little support from the crowd. Not as much as her, but yeah, I certainly got some, which was nice.
Kieran Meakins, you seem to be very nonchalant, like I said, modest, if I had to use one word to describe it, from talking to you over maybe the last 2 years more so than before. I think those are some of the terms I would use to describe you. What are you like off the court when you're not playing squash?
Probably much the same, really. Squash is where I'm at my most confident self because it's it's something I guess I'm good at, and I love the squash environment. I love the whole environment. So I guess off the court I'm pretty similar. I don't know really. I guess I'm a fairly modest person.
And you've been surfing now, or that's completely out?
No. A little golf now and again. That's a game I would like to start back one of these days. But last year it was all squash and squash training, and that was it really. But yeah, I love all sports, and certainly, you know, when I do finally retire from squash, I would maybe take up golf, or, you know, I like.
How good were you at golf?
Not very
in
good.
your opinion?
Not very good. I have some potential, but it's a game that you need to spend a lot of time on, and right now I don't have the time that I need to spend on it because my focus is still squash.
You've now won the accolade of the Sports Personality of the Year. What do you think that will do for your sport? To some extent, through a lot of Barbadians, might still be seen as quote unquote an elitist kind of discipline. What do you think now you winning this accolade will do for your sport?
Well, obviously, I'm hoping it will promote it and just get it out into the public eye, because you're absolutely right that it has got, you know, people do think it's an elitist sport, but really it isn't. You know, you need a racket, a pair of clean shoes, and a squash ball. 2 people on a court. It's not expensive. It's maybe $12 for a court to play squash, and would really, really love to get certainly more children into the game. I know that's something that the Squash Association are trying to do now with the new squash director, is trying to develop the sport. You know, we had a really successful national sports summer camp, and we had a lot of children passing through. So, just really hoping that it will get squash out there for people that maybe don't even know that the sport exists. It's not a sport that everybody knows about, and hopefully people will you know, come and try it, and we just really need to develop the sport right now for sure.
I'm sure you would like to see more women coming out.
Definitely. That's what you find a lot of, like, even with the kids, it's a lot of boys. But yeah, we desperately need like more girls, and that's not just in Barbados. That's in the whole Caribbean. You find that there's a lot more boys than girls playing, and it's a great sport. It's great exercise, you know. So I'm really hoping that we get, you know, some more girls into the sport. Definitely.
Any New Year resolutions, sports-wise or otherwise?
Just to keep going, really. You know, as long as my body keeps holding out and I stay fit and healthy, there's no reason that I need to stop. This year is obviously a little bit quieter because you don't have the CAC Games, and the World Masters isn't until next year. So I'll be training to try and retain my Caribbean title in August, and obviously first up will be Nationals, which are in March, which I'm going for number 11. So hoping that I can achieve that. And no, my New Year's resolution is just to stay fit and healthy and to keep performing at my best.
Thank you very much. That's the Sports Personality of the Year, Karen Meakins, and her very demeanor tells you exactly why she's a champion. Smooth, modest, and underneath that, a very tough cookie. Yeah, I recognize that from speaking to her in this short time. Beyond that, a very tough nut to crack. And here's hoping that she will continue to be consistent, and obviously, given her hard training, the hard work she puts in, a lot more success in 2011.